All in a line. Syzygy.
What you just saw was a clip from the hit sci-fi novel turned Netflix series, Three-Body Problem. In this fictional universe, the Trisolarans, an alien species that dwell in a solar system with 3 stars, have to dehydrate their entire bodies and turn into sheets of skin to survive. And they get wiped out every couple hundred years. What a terrible way to live. So we should consider ourselves lucky to only have one sun. Anyways, remember in the last video, we designed a way to simulate orbital motion in Scratch, utilizing fundamental physics principles like position, velocity, acceleration, and gravitational force. Today, we're going to be expanding upon that project to simulate 2-body, 3-body, and even n-body systems. Let's first talk about how we're going to approach this project. Remember F equals ma. If we write F as the gravitational force expression, g times m1 times m2 over r squared, and substitute, we have g times m1 times m2 over r squared equals to m1 times a, assuming that m1 is the mass we're currently calculating the orbital motion for. With some simple algebra, we realize that we can actually just cancel m1 on both sides, leaving a equals to g times m2 over r squared. This is also known as a gravitational field. Therefore, we can just completely cut out our use of the gravitational force and directly deal with acceleration. In other words, acceleration equals to g times the mass of the other body that's affecting us divided by r squared. Since we're dealing with multiple forces / fields influencing our body here, we can simply just sum up all the accelerations as a vector in components x and y, and that will be our net acceleration. Even though there isn't a definite solution to model a 3-body system or even an n-body system, we have computers, and of course, Scratch, so we can easily simulate it. With that, let's go ahead and get the party started. Alright, so now that we're in the Scratch workspace, let's go ahead and first find the orbital motion framework that we built in the last video and save it as a copy, because this project is going to involve a lot of the same physical principles. After that, let's go ahead and go into the Earth sprite and delete it. Yeah, you heard me right. We don't really need the Earth anymore because we can just create one framework for the moon and duplicate it 3 times to create 3 bodies and so on. But don't worry, it's not reflected in real life, so you'll be fine. The next thing we want to do is make all of these variables into for this sprite only, because each body is going to have its own acceleration, velocity, angle, and distance. The easiest way to do this without actually deleting any of the variables is to rename each of them with a -o at the end, and then creating a new variable with for this sprite only selected. Once we've done that, we want to create another variable called num_bodies just to track how many bodies are orbiting. We also want to make all of the variables that need to be accessible by all sprites into lists. That's going to be mass, the x position, and the y position. Let's also create another variable called id just for indexing in our lists that we just created. We're going to be using our backdrop as kind of like a control panel, and that's where we're going to be initializing all of these lists and constants. So first we need to set num_bodies to a number. I'll just set it to 3 here, but we're going to change that later. Also, we need to fill all of our lists with zeros, depending on what num_bodies is. So we're just going to use a repeat block and fill all of these with zeros. Of course, we also got to remember to delete everything in the list so it doesn't fill up. Once we have that set up, we can go back into the moon sprite and change all of these old variables into the ones we just created earlier. When I was recording, I did accidentally rename center x and center y with the -o, so don't worry about those for now. We just need to change the acceleration, velocity, angle, and r. Now that we got those variables replaced, we can start working on the main loop. So the difference between last video is that since we have multiple bodies orbiting now, we need to loop through each one of them and calculate the distance, which is r, and the angle for each one of them, and then calculate the acceleration from that and add all of the accelerations up. That's going to require us to make a variable called I, which is kind of like the I in a for loop that tracks what body we're currently looping over. Because we only want to calculate the influence of gravity by the other sprites on us, we got to make sure we're skipping over ourselves in the loop by checking if I does not equal to our own ID. From there, we can calculate R with the same equation, except we need to change center X and center Y into the numbers that we saved in our list in pos x and pos y. So that's just going to be item I of pos x for the x position and item I of pos y for the y position. Because we're using gravitational fields instead of force to calculate our acceleration, we can actually get rid of our own mass in the equation and instead just put item I of mass. So the full equation for gravitational field is going to be g times the mass of the other body divided by r squared. To extract the acceleration components out of this, all we got to do is actually just multiply by cosine of the angle for acceleration x and multiply by the sine of the angle for acceleration y. Speaking of angles, we also got to make sure we update our angle calculation here. So that means replacing center y with item I of pos y and center x with item I of pos x. And don't forget we have a custom block up here. We got to make sure we update the angle variables there as well. So just finishing off this loop here, we want to make sure we update velocity x and y, as well as, of course, our x and y position. So once we have all of our loops created, we have to make sure we also update our position inside the pos x and pos y lists that we created. Coming over to the top half of our big block of code, we can actually set those constants g and dt inside our control panel, which is in the backdrops. So let's go ahead and drag those two blocks of code into the backdrop and delete it here. And then we can set those at the top. At this point in the video, I kind of forgot that we have to update our loop variable I, so we need to change I by 1 there. Let's also make sure we initialize our ID as well. Keep in mind that our mass is 0 at the moment, so we have to replace the mass element inside the list with the mass of our object. One last thing we got to do here is to broadcast a message when the backdrop or control panel has set up the list and constants, just to keep everything in sync and make sure the backdrop is always the first one to set everything up. Now we have arrived at the moment of truth where we can clone our moon and make sure we set the ID to 2 and position it to the right just to test if we can have 2 bodies. And oops, okay. So we got to make sure we also set the velocity y to 0 just to see them collide. And there we go. You see, once they collide, their distance goes to 0, so the force goes to infinity, or the field goes to infinity, and they zoom out of the screen. We can try here with -50 or -25, maybe better. And you can see when we start one moving up and start one moving down, they form these 2 cool overlapping circles that look like a Venn diagram. Now the time has come to make the third body. So let's go ahead and change the ID to 3. And I'm also going to make the pen color different for all 3 bodies so we can distinguish between the paths. And rip the rainbow effect, but it's all good. Just for some extra detail, I'm going to rename these sprites Star 1, Star 2, and Planet, kind of simulating the Trisolaran solar system with 2 stars and 1 planet. And I'll make the planet green with some orange looking oceans. Maybe it's made out of orange juice, who knows. Now it's time to decorate these stars a little bit. I'm just going to keep it simple, make one of them red, and make one of them blue. Now we can go ahead and adjust the masses of these 3 bodies here. I'm going to keep the planet at 5, make the stars 200, so it's around 40x. And we can also make the planet smaller than the stars, which makes sense, and center it at 0 with the stars right next to it to the left and right. Let's also keep the planet stationary in the center and hide all of these variables. After some initial disastrous test results, where the universe kept getting destroyed because all 3 bodies were colliding with each other, I eventually found one setting with vel y for -100 and 100 for the other star that allowed our system to stay in relatively stable orbit. You can see here the planet starts attacking the blue one and then attacking the red one like it's marking its territory before meeting karma and getting flung out of the universe. One thing I noticed while I was testing was that the planet would always drift toward one side for some reason. And I eventually found out that that was because there was a frame difference. We were updating our position in a different loop than our main loop. So what's happening is the planet had some slight deviations because the positions were not updating in the same frame rate as our loop. To fix that, I simply dragged the 2 blocks that we used to update the position in the list into our main loop, and actually putting it at the top so we can nail it down from the get-go, and doing that for all the sprites. Now you'll notice when we have a symmetrical layout like this, the planet will stay in the center without moving because everything is balanced, and the 2 stars will just form those Venn diagram shapes that we had with 2 bodies. Here's a little clip of me messing around with the settings. Also, just want to shout out Victoria MacArthur for suggesting this amazing change that allows us to get rid of that clunky staircase effect on our pen tool by using the go-to block instead of the change X and change Y by blocks. And this makes our trajectories look a lot smoother. After that quick fix, you'll notice that our paths look a lot smoother. There's no staircasing effect, there's no delay, it's all very smooth. And with that, I'm gonna go crazy again with the settings. Sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. Pretty cool, right? There's so many combinations of variables that can lead to drastically different behaviors. So feel free to experiment with the settings, and I'd love to see what y'all come up with. If you discover a cool pattern or uncover settings that lead to a periodic stable orbit for this 3-body system, drop a comment down below sharing what initial velocities, masses, and gravitational constant you used. Really excited to see what you can find. Anyways, that's going to be it for this 3-body orbit video. Hope you enjoyed watching these stars and planets coil around each other. If you have any questions or comments, feel free to leave a message down below. And I would really love it if you could like and subscribe. It motivates me to keep putting together content like this. Once again, thank you for tuning in, and I'll see you next time. Bye!